Dana White announced last night that Israel Adesanya is set to face Joe Pyfer at UFC Seattle on March 28th. Pyfer enters the matchup on a 3-fight winning streak, most recently submitting Abus Magomedov via rear naked choke in the second round. Izzy, meanwhile, is on a 3-fight losing streak, with his most recent loss coming by second-round TKO to Nasruddin Imavov. Izzy posted a promo video on X after the news broke. He wrote, here we go again. Pyfer posted this to his Instagram. In the caption, he wrote, I'm blessed for the opportunity against one of the greatest middleweights of all time. Little Joey P is on his way. Hard f***ing work incoming. Self-belief and faith can pull any man out of a dark time. Let's go get this f***ing Joe Bodybags Pyfer. What a life. Additionally, Alexa Grasso is set to rematch Macy Barber at UFC Seattle. The two first fought back at UFC 258 in 2021, and Grasso won via unanimous decision. Paulo Costa is officially moving up to light heavyweight and will face Azamat Murzakanov at UFC 327 on April 11th. Paulo posted this photo to his Instagram. He wrote, bulking season. Now secret juice unlimited. This user replied saying light heavyweight for Paulo Costa. He will definitely make weight. Paulo responded saying, bro, what the f***? I have never missed weight, you goof. Dana White also announced that the UFC Apex has been officially renamed to Meta Apex.
What's up, everybody? Happy 2026. So as we go into the new year, the home of the Contender Series, the home of some fight nights, the home of Zuffa Boxing, UFC BJJ will now be called the Meta Apex. We've done a 5-year deal with Meta, so welcome to the new Meta Apex.
Ariel Helwani reacted to Dana White's recent interview on CBS Mornings, where he promoted UFC 324. Ariel said he believes Dana has become disconnected from the MMA community and is no longer as invested in the sport as he once was.
I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative Nancy. I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to parse through I promise you I'm not. But I just couldn't believe how disconnected and how disinterested he seemed in the product. He seemed so disinterested in the product that I couldn't believe he's on with, the CBS This Morning crew, and it's a very fluff interview. I mean, it's as mainstream as he'll get, right? It's their equivalent of Good Morning America. And he's asked at one point, he says that Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison is the greatest female fight of all time. Why is it the greatest female fight of all time? And he just goes, well, Kayla, and we can't show you the clip because we don't want to get dinged for it, but he basically just says like, well, Kayla's she's a medalist, doesn't remember that she's a gold medalist, doesn't even remember that she's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and she won in another organization, and she won in the UFC, and she's fighting Amanda Nunes, who's the GOAT, and so it's the greatest female fight of all time. Like, doesn't tell you about Olympic gold, doesn't tell me that they're former teammates, doesn't tell you that Amanda's retiring and coming back and wants to fight like none of that stuff. It's so easy to sell this. It is so easy to sell this.
A few months before Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett was booked for the interim lightweight title, Gaethje said he would retire if he didn't receive a title shot. In a recent interview, he admitted he was speaking emotionally and suggested that his manager Ali Abdelaziz played a role in putting him in that position.
There was rumor that you'd said if you didn't get a title shot next that you might retire. Was there any truth to that? And if so, is giving you this interim title shot kind of said, okay, I feel like I'm getting what I deserve now?
Well, I definitely, I got what I asked for. It was more my manager put me in that, but I mean, I probably said it, but it was, we're emotional beings, and we're petty. We don't get to where I'm at or where these fighters are at without being petty. I take things personal, and I thought I had earned something, and so I was trying to stand up.
Bryce Mitchell has shared a new conspiracy theory this week. He claims that many of the top podcasts in the world have fake view counts. Bryce pointed out that the first episode of his podcast, the one with the controversial remarks that we can't really discuss, got millions of views, while his follow-up episodes are now only reaching a few thousand.
Hey, your favorite podcaster is a Fed. That's right. That podcaster that you watch with tens of millions of views on every episode and always has the most esteemed guests around the world coming into their show. Yeah, they're a Fed. And I know this because I've been in the podcast industry here for about 6 months, and that's all it took me to realize that it's all fake. See, my first podcast episode ever had hundreds of millions of views. It literally went worldwide, and most of the people in the world agreed with me. A few idiots that are sensitive and behind, they got offended. but most people agreed with me. So I had hundreds of millions of views on my first episode. Episode number 2, bam, 2,000 views. So my episode views go from millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, worldwide attention. Episode 1, episode 2, boom, nothing. I'm just telling you, everything is censored. Damn near every one of them podcasters are feds. And just want to let you know, you can't censor 100 million people with shotguns. You can't censor 100 million people with rifles. We will be heard. The day's not come yet, but when the day comes, we'll be heard. So y'all stay strong. They're going to censor us. They're going to tell us we're nothing. They're going to make fun of us. Remember, we'll be heard on that day, okay? So y'all take care. God bless you.
Arman Tsarukayn was a part of a skit called How That One Friend Acts After Taking One Boxing Class.
Why would you throw that punch? I would have went like this, then I would have grabbed you like that. You would have been dead, looking up at the stars.
Jiri Prochazka believes his win over Khalil Rountree shouldn't be labeled as a comeback, even though it won Comeback of the Year. On X, Jiri reposted this. He wrote, "Appreciate it, and one more thing. It was not a comeback. I watched that 2 days back, and here is my result. I controlled my opponent all the fight. Even if he was many times successful with his techniques, I controlled distance, rhythm, and precision of hits. Now it's time to make a step up and show it. Let's go for that." Dricus Du Plessis is back in the gym and recently posted some new sparring footage. At the moment, Dricus is not currently scheduled for a fight. He's coming off a unanimous decision loss to Khamzat Chimaev where he lost the middleweight title. Francis Ngannou's coach Eric Nicksick hopes that Francis and Dana White can eventually hash things out. Nicksick says he thinks that deep down, Dana does like Francis and wishes he was still in the UFC considering the current state of the heavyweight division. In an interview with MMAfighting.com, Nicksick said, "I think that my relationship with certain individuals are different than the relationship with other people. I know what Francis brings to me and my family, and the way that he treats me, and that's the way I judge him by his character. Same with Dana. Dana's been nothing but nice and great to me. I wish that somewhere down the line that these two could mend those fences, just on a personal level. I'd rather have friends than enemies, and at the end of the day, I hope that these guys can reconcile and put away their differences. But when I look at it too, it's almost like, just let him continue to live his life. We don't need to continue to talk about this. This, whatever happened, was probably almost 7-8 years ago. Why are we bringing up old like that, you know? And I think it's just, in a lot of ways, I don't know. This is my personal opinion. I feel like deep down, Dana does like Francis, and I think that he does miss the fact that they would like to have him on that roster because of where the heavyweight division is at now and the landscape of it. Hopefully at some point those two can sit down man to man and just let all this go. Like, why do you want to carry that energy? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to carry that energy every day. So hopefully they can reconcile and let that go. Even if Francis never fights in the UFC ever again, like, just move on. Mauricio Ruffy teaches Israel Adesanya the scissor takedown technique.
The way you set it up so nice. You were just like... And then you just went.
Eu acerto upper primeiro ou tento acertar o upper?
Okay.
Eu mudo. Eu faço isso aqui para acertar esse.
Okay.
Eu faço.
Oh! Let me try. Do it again. Boom. Okay, do one more time slow. I want to see if you put your hand on the ground or not. Boom. Yeah, okay. Okay, elbow. Yeah. Perfect. Try again?
Yeah.
Ariel Helwani went off on Kamaru Usman. If you missed it, last week footage was uploaded to Usman's YouTube channel of him FaceTiming with Anthony Joshua after his accident, where his two friends tragically lost their lives. Usman received significant backlash, with many arguing the conversation should have remained private. Usman later said he didn't realize he was being filmed and hadn't properly watched the video before it was released, and Ariel doesn't buy it.
Thursday, I see a video of Kamaru Usman sitting cage side at some event. He's very clearly speaking to Anthony Joshua on FaceTime. You're hearing Anthony Joshua talk about it. You're hearing him talk about his friends. And I'm thinking to myself, like, did Anthony Joshua know that he was being filmed? He clearly did not want to speak publicly just yet. Did he know that he was being filmed, and did he know that this would be out there and would essentially be his first words about a life-changing, shocking, tragic, scary event? Kamaru was talking about like, oh man, crazy that we meet this way. They had never spoken before. Not only had they never met in person, they had never spoken before on the phone or anything. Oh man, it's crazy. And then he's saying like, man, you had us scared there. You had us scared there for a moment. I was so happy that everything was okay. But like, bro, the guy lost two of his best friends. What are you talking about? This is nothing to celebrate. All of it was so weird. So I asked around and I said, hey, did AJ know that he was being filmed? And what I was told was, not gonna bother him, but highly, highly unlikely he did not know that he was being filmed. And certainly he did not know that that would be disseminated to the world on a video blog. And I was like, there's no way, man. There's no way. He had to have asked him. He cannot be that big of a, as the kids say, clout chaser, that he was so excited that he had the great Anthony Joshua on FaceTime that he had to film it and then post it. And then lo and behold, I see this tweet. It completely slipped my mind that my conversation was recorded. I realized after and was asked about it. That's not something I would ever do to a friend slash brother who we just met. Don't believe for a second that this kind of just slipped his mind. If you're gonna play media guy, know the rules. Because if someone did that to him in his career, at the prime of his career, he'd be pretty pissed off. Not to mention someone coming off a life-altering, tragic event like the one his friend slash brother just experienced.
Kayla Harrison is reportedly out of her scheduled bantamweight title defense against Amanda Nunes at UFC 324. Kayla was forced to withdraw due to a neck injury, with reports indicating that she may require surgery. At this time, it's unclear whether the UFC will find a replacement opponent for Nunes or reschedule the fight for a later date. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to Luke Rockhold teasing that he may be competing in Power Slap. The first one's from Space Cadet 427. It says, "Dear God, Luke exploring innovative ways to lose and get CTE." The second one's from JJ Marr. It says, "Luke Rockhold collecting L's like Thanos was collecting Infinity Stones." And the final one's from Mountaineer Athletes. It says, "Power Slap would be one of the worst ideas Rockhold could ever make. He has to be trolling." Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.